And yeah, so let's get cracking, I guess. So to start with, let's just have a look at my default rack setup. You can see it's quite straightforward. I've got 4 aux sends being used, and a main master combinator. Now, some of you might be wondering why I'm using a main master combinator instead of just sticking it in the insert effects section. That's because I like to have it routed just before it hits the audio output, straight out of Reason. So the last thing that's kind of hit in this rack is the isotope ozone maximizer. That's kind of why I've set it up like this. So the mastering chain is pretty straightforward. Typically, I wouldn't be working with the mastering combinator turned on, but for the sake of this stream, I'm going to leave it turned on for convenience sake. I've also got a Audiomatic device just before the maximizer, set to hi-fi. Now, I really like what it does to the lows and highs, especially kind of when you whack it over the top of a mix. But as is the case with most things like this, you don't really want to be sort of using it quite heavy-handedly, which is why I've got it set to 50% dry wet and transforms at 75%. So if I just fold that up, I should probably mention as well, I've got an iPad to my side here with the Twitch chat stream up on there. So if you have any questions or anything like that, or if anything's going horrendously wrong, then please let me know. In fact, I'm just going to have a quick look and make sure it's all working. Well, I guess it's working. Nobody said anything to the contrary. So yeah, let's continue talking about the template. My first aux send is a UBK reverb device, which is connected to an M-class equalizer. This is just to roll off the lows and boost the highs a little bit. I use this for kind of more sort of less heavy reverb sounds, so kind of shorter reverbs, which is kind of strange because UBK is actually quite good at doing big ethereal reverb sounds. But it's kind of how I've been using it for the past few years as an aux send. My second aux send is an ebow device. Now this is really good for creative delay, or any kind of delay with a bit of character to it. I'm also using a echo device as my third aux send. The reason I have 2 different echoes, or 2 different delay units here, is because I like to route different things to different delay units, and at certain points in the song I might want to push the feedback up on the echo and have certain instruments feeding back on themselves, or not, as a case may be. And my fourth aux send is the Synapse DR1 Deep Reverb. Now, I love this reverb unit for kind of big, clean reverb type sounds. So it's kind of good for really big washes, really nice ethereal kind of reverb. So that's more of an atmospheric reverb. The UBK is kind of more of a space reverb, if that makes any sense. Now, that's not to say I'm just going to use those 4. I sometimes add to it or take away from it or what have you. I should probably mention as well, I'm just going to have a quick look at my iPad again. Oh dear. Well, apparently some people are having issues with the video. I'm hoping that's not the case. If you have any issues, please let me know, because obviously if this isn't working, I should probably stop and have a look. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of my basic rack setup. So it's not really a lot going on here. So let's get started, I guess. I suppose I should pick a tempo. I'll just stick with the default 90 for now. That seems like a nice place to start. So let's start with a pad. Pad's always a good place to start. So I'm using the Predator here. Predator's pretty good for kind of quick pad sounds, I think. Although it's been a little while since I used it. I had a quick play with it earlier on today to make sure I could remember how to use it properly. But yeah, I haven't used it for quite a while. But let's just dial in a sound, I guess. Just gonna keep that back a bit. So let's have a listen. Right, probably shouldn't have dialed it back that far, but whatever. Here we go. Well, simple. Sorry, just having a look at my iPad again. Right, okay, so I'm just going to turn up the pulse width modulation on here and turn the spread up so it's a bit of a wider sound. And I'm going to enable free running so I don't get that kind of phasing sound every time I hit a chord. That's better. If I go silent for long stretches of time, then that's kind of normal, I guess. I'm working on a song, so yeah. Actually, I'm just going to move this over here so you can actually see what I'm doing properly without my stupid face getting in the way. I'm going to enable the second oscillator. Try something different. How about Spec 11? That sounds fun. I'd like to say there was some kind of deep reasoning behind me choosing that particular oscillator, but there really isn't. Right. Let's turn the spread up on that as well. Yeah, that'll do for now. And I'll just throw in a third oscillator organ. That sounds fun. Yeah, let's add some fifths. Oh, actually, let's go down. I'll turn the volume down on that. Okay. Now, although I'm using headphones, I'm gonna try my best to roll off the lows using the high-pass filter on the mixer. Generally speaking, whenever I'm working on anything really, I'll roll off the lows on most instruments besides drums or kicks and bass around 80 Hertz, because you don't really need a whole lot down there, and it can kind of overwhelm the mix if you have everything muddying up things down there. So right, well, it looks like the stream's working, so I'm just going to push on. I guess for now I'm just going to leave the filter open mostly, but I'm gonna, there we go. And now I'm going to use the first LFO to modulate the first oscillator's pitch, just to kind of give it a little bit of pitch motion, a little bit more of a human feel. I should probably add some effects. Predator, I kind of feel like really shines once you start using the built-in effects. So I'm going to put a little bit of chorus on and a little bit of stereo delay. Now I could have used one of my aux sends, but I'm actually thinking of putting this through an alligator in a second, and it'd be nice to have the delay gated as well. So that's why I'm using the delay on the Predator itself. So let's have... Yeah, that's sounding okay. Right, so, well, I guess I should probably start messing around with the alligator. Yeah, that'll do. I feel like the alligator really shines with kind of pads and rhythmic stuff once you turn the amplitude, when you turn the attack up and release up, and you turn the decay down a little bit. So let's have a listen. So we're already getting a little bit of motion there. I'm just going to have the LFO modulate the individual filters a little bit. So we're already getting a nice little bit of motion there. I'm just going to move this over to the right because I think I'm done tweaking the Predator for now. I'm going to turn on a little bit of reverb, so that's aux send 1 for the Ubic reverb, and a little bit of aux send 3 for the echo delay. Yeah, let's get some chords down really. For this, I'm actually going to use blocks. My kind of plan of attack, as such as it is to build a semi-complete block or two, and then arrange a rough structure for the song around that, and then kind of see where it goes from there really. Like I said, this might end horribly, but I'm kind of hoping it doesn't. So we'll see. Right. Just going to move that back to the start. So position start of the block. I'm going to set the length to 2 bars for each note. So there we go. And let's copy that over. Something I like to do if I'm just working on a new song is to just basically open up the event window and transpose a chord and work around the transpose chord to see what fits. So I'm just going to transpose this up 4 semitones and see what happens. Okay, that's not so great. But if I move that down and yeah, that'll work. I'll go with an 8-bar block. That sounds like a good place to go. Yeah, that's sounding okay. I'm sorry if anyone's having problems with this stream, by the way. Like I said, this is all completely new to me, so if it doesn't work, I don't really know what to do about it. But please let me know via Twitter or other social media if you have any problems. I'll try and address those for the next video if I do another one, if this doesn't go catastrophically wrong. My intention is to actually upload this to YouTube after I've completed it. Although having said that, it's going to be handled on Twitch's end, so the video might end up getting kind of mangled if you're already having problems. But I guess we'll just have to see if this works. If anyone's watching this and it's working totally fine, please let me know in the chat window, because that would actually be a little reassuring at the moment. Anyway, while we're doing that, I'm going to add a Faturator to this pad. Now the Faturator is a really nice little rack extension, and I do tend to use the distortions kind of from time to time, but I really like it for its stereo widening, and I tend to use it in pairs. So I'm going to basically crank the stereo widening up on this particular channel, but it adds a bias to the overall sound. So this will sound like it's panned slightly to the right. There'll be a bias to the right if you listen to it again. But my intention is to balance this with another pad. So I'm just going to fire up another Predator. And for the sake of brevity, I don't think I'm going to create another patch. I'm actually going to be a little lazy here. So I'm going to open up that, actually no, I'm going to stick in the ambient 1 folder. And if I just copy this over, turn that channel down before we start. Nah, it's not really doing it for me. No. Oh, I think that could work if I transpose it down an octave. So now I'm going to balance this by adding another Faturator that's turned right down. I should probably mention you want to be a little careful if you start doing this, and you want to always check the mono mix. Just to make sure it's working properly. And I'm just going to check my iPad once again. Well, it's working fine for some people, so fingers crossed that means Twitch are actually getting my stream. So fingers crossed. If you're having problems, I'm planning on uploading this to YouTube anyway. That's if it is actually worth watching in the end. Yeah, if you're watching it and it's working fine, awesome. Thanks for letting me know. That's really good to know. Right. So I'm just going to add a little bit of reverb to that. Okay, I'm just going to add a very simple bass drone to everything using the Poly 6. I love the Poly 6, by the way. It's really, really quick and easy to dial in a sound. Like if you just watch this, I'm just going to dial in a very quick bass sound using pulse width modulation. So here we go. Okay, it's not bassy because it's quite a high register. Yeah, it's a That's a serviceable bass drone, I think. Just turn that down a little bit. And I'll adjust the decay. Right, okay, let's draw in some notes. I'll set that to quantize to bar, or snap to bar. It's not particularly fancy at the moment, but it's a good start. We can build around that. So, oops, what am I doing? Right, I'm going to start working on the drums, I guess. That seems like a good place to start. Well, a good place to continue, really. So let's look for a kick. I'm going to use a bunch of drums from a free sample set from Samplephonics called Tube Drum Hits. Now, these are they're pretty handy kicks and snares to have. Normally, I might use some other drums, but I thought it'd be good to use something that's freely available. Oh man, I kind of lucked out there. I really like that kick. Right. I'm just going to reduce the length. Yeah, that'll do for now. Right, I should probably find a snare, really. Right. Well, that'll do. Nice and punchy. Now, on the this redrum channel, I'm going to open up the programmer and open up a patch called Audiomatic Drums. As the name suggests, this chucks it through another hi-fi Audiomatic device. But the thing about the hi-fi Audiomatic setting is it does actually scoop the mids out a little bit. So straight afterwards, I've got a PEQ2 which boosts the mids a little bit. Now this is a little trick that my friend Tom Pritchard told me about. And at first I was like, why would you use an ART to boost the lows and highs and cut the mids and then boost the mids again? Why not just use an EQ? It's hard to explain, but I like what it does. So I apologize if that's too loud at the moment for anyone. I'm just gonna check that in a second. So let's copy and paste that across. Yeah, I like how I said, I apologize if it's too loud, and then turn the drums up. Yes, right. So I'll just put that away. Again, because I'm on cans, I'm probably not going to be doing a huge amount of EQing. It'll mostly be cuts. Anyway, I think I should probably add a little bit of shuffle. So I'm going to open up the Groove Mixer, and I'm going to set Groove Channel A1 to Global Shuffle. I'm going to set these drums to Channel A1. Just grab a drink. Hope you don't mind me, I'm going to be drinking on the job. Tasty. Right, let's get back to it. I'm just going to continue adding drums all over the place. I'll just copy and paste those and modify the drums some more here. Oops, what have I done? Right. That didn't really work. Yes, I'm drinking tea. That is exactly what I was drinking. It's tea. Thank you. It's purely for creative purposes. The tea really gets my creative juices flowing. Right. Hmm. I'm really glad that the sound quality seems to be good for some of you. That was actually a bit of a concern of mine. I actually wanted everything set up so if at some point I do want to record some little vocal parts, I've actually got my vocal mic to my left here. So that's actually what I'm using to record my voice at the moment. And hey, who knows? I might record some little vocal stuff later on. Who knows? Or I might not. Anyway, let's add some steady hats. That's simple and short. That'll do. Just create a new note lane. Okay, so drums aren't anything particularly fancy yet. I think it's time to embellish them a little bit. So I'm going to create a Dr. Octorex loop player and throw a loop in. No, well, I'm in the dubstep folder for some reason. What the hell? Let's go with some dubstep drums. I think I can make those work. Right. So I'm going to set this channel again to A1, which is the shuffle channel, as you might remember. Turn that down and roll the lows off again around 80 to 100 hertz. Basically, while using the high pass filter. So because we've already got a kick, we don't need two kicks fighting for the same space. So that's my logic anyway. I'm sticking with it. Yeah, let's keep that simple. I might just add a little hat flourish, extra hat on the end there. Yeah, that'll do. Copy and paste that. Oh, someone's asked what microphone I'm using. Actually, I'm using my first and only main vocal mic that I recorded. When I was at university, I basically had a choice of a load of different vocal microphones to record stuff in a studio. And so I went through U87s and all kinds of other awesome microphones. And I came across this one, which is a little SE 2200A. And at the time, I thought it suited my voice quite well, so I decided to go home and look up how much it cost, bearing in mind all the other microphones I'd used were quite expensive, well, some of them were. And so I was quite chuffed when I found out it was about £150. So I bought one pretty much straight away, and I've been using it for the past 10 years. It's been a real workhorse. I've also got an SM58, but I tend to use that more for kind of live stuff. So yeah, it's I don't think they make them anymore, which is a bit of a shame. But don't knock them just because they're cheap. It's definitely worth checking out. Anyway, what was I doing? Right, let's add some more drums. I'm actually going to cheat here and go into a little percussion folder where I have some stuff exported from other programs, in this case Reactor. These drums are exported from an ensemble called Vectory in Reactor. So I'm just going to drag that in. Hey, that sounds suitably glitchy and fun. So I'm just going to stretch that so the tempo matches and quantize it. Turn the channel down and high pass filter that again. Actually, before I forget, I am going to start labeling these channels. I am terrible at labeling my channels. So yeah, if I don't do it now, I won't do it ever. Dubstep drums. Vectory, there we go, right. I think that's sounding all right. Right, I'm going to load another combinator patch, which I use a lot, and this is called Delay Glitcher. I should thank the person who edited this. Basically, many years ago, I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago, I uploaded this patch to the Propellerhead user forum, rest in peace, and it was a bit of a mess, and someone made a few tweaks to it. I can't remember exactly what they changed, but they basically made the matrix sequences have more of an audible impact on the sound. Basically, what this does is it splits the incoming signal into 4 separate, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate delay devices, which in turn are fed into a main mixer. Now these matrix sequences control the amplitude of each delay channel, so what you get is a kind of automated glitchy sound. Now I'm just going to change the step lengths on all of these matrix devices, so it's less regular throughout the song. You'll hear what I mean in a second. I'm going to turn the dry level back up because I liked how that was sounding. Turn the delay down and keep the glitch level reasonably high. So I'm just going to solo this channel and let's have a listen. So it sounds almost kind of, well, it's kind of comb filtered in a way. It's very, very short delays, extra little glitchy effects. Yeah, no. I don't think there's going to be any resting in peace with the Propellerhead user forum. If anyone's here and they do want to check out a forum for Reason users, go to Reason Talk. I apologize in advance to Reason Talk if you end up with an influx of users. No offense to anyone watching. If you end up with an influx of users who like my music but are kind of dicks, I'm not calling anyone here a dick. I'm just going to stop talking. I'm going to stop insulting my audience. That's rule number 1. I'm going to stop insulting my audience and drink my goddamn tea. Oh, it's intense business, this music making lark. Right, okay. I think that'll do for now with the drums. I'm just thinking what else I could add to the block for now. Actually, no. Right, I'm gonna make a copy of this block and put it in block 2 because I like the sort of drum variations throughout the block. But I'm gonna go back to block 1 and chop out a couple of those chords. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to go back to block 2. What I want is an arp. So I'm going to create a Poly 6 device. Sorry, this is kind of the way my brain works while I'm working on a song. It's pretty scattershot. I'm a bit all over the place, I'm afraid. So again, using the Poly 6, and I'm probably going to leave the settings mostly as they are. And actually, no, I'll leave that for now. Yeah, that'll do. Again, I'm going to roll off the lows and give this track a proper name. And I'm going to create a arpeggiator. Now you might be wondering, Ad, why don't you use the arpeggiator on the Poly 6, you stupid man? Well, to that I say screw you, and I prefer the arpeggiate because it gives you more control, lets you use patterns, that kind of thing. So I'm going to use the pattern, and I'm going to turn shuffle on, which is still using the global shuffle. I'm just going to take a few blocks out, set it to 2 octaves, and I'm just going to copy the bass channel onto the ARP. I'll delete the actual ARP Poly 6 channel to prevent confusion. I'm going to turn the analog up on here. And I'm going to modulate the filter frequency a little bit, just to give it a little more movement. So it's not particularly complex, but all these individual elements aren't particularly complex at the moment, but they kind of work nicely together, and that's what I want to go for here. I want to keep it sort of simple and go crazy when I start arranging everything. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to insult you guys earlier. I'm sure you're all lovely. If you go to Reason Talk, you'll be welcomed with open arms, unless you start slagging everyone off. But you're all lovely people, so you're not going to do that. Yes, I trust you. More than I trust myself. Right, so we've got an ARP. Actually, I might add an extra chord. So I'm going to use the old Factorator trick again here, and these two are going to be kind of paired up. So I'm going to turn the Factorator stereo knob down there, and I'm going to create another one here and crank it right up. And yeah, I'm going to turn the analog up again here, and I'm going to stick with a sawtooth wave. Keep it simple. And yeah, what the hell? Let's see if this will work. I should probably turn that down a little bit first. And high pass filter on around 100 Hertz again. So you might be getting a feel for some of those sort of quite common tricks that I use a lot. There is actually one thing I want to change on the bass channel soon. So I've just put a little bit of reverb on that channel again. Surprisingly, I'm not using a whole lot of reverb or delay, which is very unlike me. Clearly you're a bad influence on me, all of you. Yeah, I'm just keeping this nice and simple. Just copying and pasting lots of stuff. I'd just like to point out that well, actually, I might copy and paste a lot of stuff if I'm working on a song normally, if I think it'll work. A good way to get around that kind of stagnation is by using live instrumentation and making lots of tweaks and flourishes. I normally kind of obsess quite a lot on little elements in a song here. Here it's going to be more about the big picture. I'm going to modulate the pitch a little bit using the LFO here. So. I hope that mix isn't totally broken. Like I said, I don't really have any point of reference at the moment. I think I should probably add some keys. Yeah, okay. I'm going to create a combinator, and oh, look at that. I'm going to use one of Tom Pritchard's fantastic patches. I'm going to do this a lot. I'm going to big up Tom's stuff constantly because his patches are so good. And although he hasn't put anything out in a while, which is slightly infuriating, you should definitely check out his refills. They're available in the Propellerhead shop. Yeah, they're pretty good. But my playing isn't. So yeah, I'm actually going to use a reverb insert on this track because I want a really big wash kind of reverb that will muddy, well, not muddy, that will kind of what's the word I'm looking for, kind of smush the original sound. Yes, that's a great word, smush it. Yeah, that might work. Again, rolling off the lows. Actually, I'd like a little bit of grit, so I'm going to stick this through a Scream 4 and set that to tape. Roll off the lows a bit there. Yeah, that might work. Yeah, that is the bad thing about having huge reverb on stuff. When you start doing stupid things like that, you'll end up with a wash of noise, so I apologize for that. Also, I'd just like to point out, I did quite literally just grab the first patch from this Keys and Polysynths folder from Tom's Vast refill, and it fit. I didn't even bother checking it. That's how much I trust this refill. It's just, and to be honest, that sounds pretty damn good to me. So I'm gonna use the Echo Bode refill and Echo Bode aux send, and I'm gonna turn the delay time down a bit. Oh yeah, it's muted. Someone's asked me why I decided to program my drums like this using the sequencer. That's generally how I would program drums. Sometimes I'll use the pads on my keyboard, but generally I just like to do it by hand. It's what I'm used to. Sometimes, in particular, some of my more recent work, I've been using the step sequencer on the redrum itself. I'll create a single 64-step pattern and then modify that. I'll copy that across the rest of the 8 patterns in the first bank, and then alter them manually, just kind of modify little bits here and there. And then throughout the course of the song, I'll switch between patterns, so it kind of keeps the drums constantly fresh. You get these little variations here and there. I'm not going to do that now, because creating a 64-step pattern and then modifying it 8 times takes, as you might expect, a little while. So yeah, I'm afraid you're getting a bit of a copy and paste job here, but it's a good way of working. The general thing with kind of a lot of how I'm approaching things is, I'm not saying this is the right way to do everything. You should do everything like this. Not at all. In fact, I personally love Reason to bits. It's my favorite DAW by a long shot. It just clicks with me. But if you're more comfortable using something else, use what you're more comfortable with. I don't buy into kind of software snobbery or elitism or anything like that. It's just bullshit. I don't have time for that. It just winds me up. So yeah, there we go. But yeah, that's how I'd normally program drums. Sorry, got a little aggressive there. Yeah, someone's just pointed out the Vast refill apparently costs $10 over on Nuclear Sound Lab. So yeah, you kind of have no reason not to get it. Oh, that gives me an idea actually. I'm gonna go back to my drum hit section and add a beat crush device. This might not work, but sometimes this works quite nicely, where you just add a little bit of grit to the drums. I'll leave that. If anyone notices anything really, really obviously wrong with my mix, please let me know. Like I said, I'm using headphones, so obvious things might not stick out to me. One thing I'm always kind of aware of with headphones is hats and crashes and that kind of thing. Anything in the highs can be really piercing, and I might not notice because evidently I'm going deaf and I'm using headphones. So there we go. I'm pretty happy with that block, actually. I'm going to copy that over to block 1, which is what I was going to do before, and simplify. So I'm going to just copy and paste that. And I think I'm just going to leave those blocks alone for now. And yeah, let's start arranging. So let's start with block 1. Right, so I'm just going to start removing elements one by one. So let's just start with that pad, actually. So I'm going to do something that I tend to do quite a lot, which is just start with the reverb cranked right up and automate it down as it is, so it's kind of everything sort of gently washes in. I'm also going to put a filter on it so it sort of becomes clearer. Actually, I'm going to chop that block so we just have the one chord. Actually, you know, it'd be really cool. I'm going to put a synchronous device after this reverb unit and open up one of the presets called sidechain. As you can see, I use this quite a lot. It's basically a really quick and dirty way of introducing a pumping sound without sidechaining it with anything. It's kind of a fake sidechain, if you will. That's a bit extreme. So I'll automate that and it will give it an extra kind of obvious bit of rhythm before I bring the drums in. I'll probably bring the drums in here. Actually, I'll start with that little loop. And I'm going to have the high pass filter turned right up and bring that in over time. So here we go. Actually, I'll have a little bit of reverb on that as well. Not that much. Actually, I'll just use a reverb insert, use the RV7000. You might have noticed my aux sends, the RV7000 was kind of conspicuous in its absence there. I don't have a problem with the RV7000. I love it to bits. I still think it's fantastic. And the convolution reverb that was added recently, I love that. So yeah, I was quite happy with that. Just as it came out, I'd only recently been to York. And I visited York Minster, and I thought, wow, this would be a really good place to kind of listen to a gig or listen to some music in. And the impulse response was right there in the bank that came with the RV7000 upgrade. So yeah, and it does sound great. So I had quite a lot of fun playing piano through that particular convolution. Anyway, back to what I was doing. You might have noticed I'm quite easily distracted. Right, let's... Actually, if I have the reverb sit there, what I might do is have that last snare. I'm going to enable one of the reverb aux sends, the big ethereal reverb, and that will kind of give it this really nice wash. So if I turn that on and I just pop that here, and that's on. Oops, I find it helps you put that in the right place. Yes, that'll work. Cool. Actually, I might mute that for that last beat as well. So my thinking is all the drums can come in after here, and it will sound quite nice. And I'll bring the rest of the block in as well, so we get all the drums. Actually, I'll set that back to bar. So one thing I do want to try in a second is I want to add some atmospheric effects to the start of the track. I'll get on that in just a second. Oh yeah, I should probably introduce the bass. I'm going to automate the filter cutoff frequency, so it kind of that fades in a little bit as well on the bass. Actually, I might have that arp slowly fade in as well, and I might tinker with that bass just a little bit. So if I change it in the blocks, that'll be it. That's what I love about using blocks. You change one thing, it changes everything across the song, which might save me quite a bit of time. Oh, whoops, I forgot to change the ARP in this block. So there we go, fixed. Actually, I might try transposing that synth up an octave, just so it kind of shines through a bit. So I'm going back to the song. I'm going to adjust the amplitude envelope. I've just turned the diffusion off on the echo and adjusted the ping pong pan so it's slightly wider, it's a more exaggerated effect. Actually, I'm going to adjust that last chord so it comes down. Actually, no, I'm not. Actually, no, what I am going to do is adjust the volume of the third oscillator on that first pad, which is tuned so it plays fifths. And have that fade in slowly over the course of the song. So even though I'm repeating quite a lot of stuff here, I want to keep it varied through automation, layering different things on top of each other. I think that's kind of the trick in sort of getting a song down quickly like this. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I'm going to add another bass note here. Yeah, just a little change. I think that'll help. Right, two things I want to do. I want to add some little transition effects because those drums come in quite suddenly. Now I'm going to use another quite common trick of mine. Actually, I'm going to start another rack over here. Reverse transitions. Now, I could have a really fancy transition, but what I'm going to do is go back to the tube drum hits over here, open up the samples, go to rides and cymbals, and pick a cymbal. I think that might actually be the best one I'm going to get for this purpose. Right, so I'm going to shorten that clip a little bit, stretch it, reverse it, and put it in the right place, and then have that fade in a little bit. And now in the actual instrument insert effects section, I'm going to create a deep reverb. And I'm going to adjust the dry wet so it's all the way up, adjust the time so it's huge, turn the low cut up a bit, and roll the lows off using the high pass high pass filter here. So I turn that down, let's give that a listen. Okay, I might have that fade in a little longer, right. No, unfortunately, I'm not going to be recording any live cowbell today. No, I might record some guitars or vocals. I'm not really sure yet. I'll kind of play it by ear. I'm going to stick another... That'll do. Short and to the point. Right, before I forget, I'm just going to open up one of these blocks and mute the drums. Yeah, all of them. And what I really should have been doing, which would have been particularly good practice now, is I really should have been grouping my channels, but I haven't, so there. Right, now I'm just going to export that tiny little loop. I'm going to call it stretch for reasons that will become apparent in a second. Yeah, I'm sure some people are frowning upon the fact I'm exporting a 16-bit file, which I'm going to process and bring back in. It's not going to make a lot of difference. Right, and now I'm going to open Old Faithful Pull Stretch. Now, Pull Stretch is a fantastic little bit of software that stretches everything you throw into it in to a ludicrous degree. So if I open that stretch file, render it in the same folder I put this, call it stretched, nice and original. So I'm taking that block, I'm going to put it back at the start of the song and use that as kind of a, in a nice way, it'll kind of foreshadow the song. It's a really nice little trick. It'll foreshadow everything that's to come, and it would sound really nice. So go to export, bring stretched back in here. Oops. Get rid of the browser. Probably shouldn't have done that. Stop. Right, and I'll just shorten that a little bit. I'm going to put an insert reverb on here just to kind of smear the sound. Smear the sound, that's the word I was looking for earlier. Smear or smush, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to change the algorithm to arena, turn the size up, roll off the lows, and I was going to put this through a filter, so I'm going to do that now before I forget again. I'm going to use a AF, no I'm not, I'm going to use a regular filter, because the AF4 sounds great, but it does colour the sound, whereas the old BCF filter in Reason doesn't colour the sound when it's completely open, which is quite nice. Actually, I'm going to adjust the position of that so we get, oops, so we get some of the later pad coming in. Hi Tiana, I've just had a message to say hi. Hi. Yeah. What else is here? Yeah, the Synapse reverb, as far as I'm aware, is very similar to the one in Antidote, but I think it's slightly different. I got it as part of the multi-effects pack, the bundle in the Propellerhead shop. All the effects in there are really good. The ring modulator, the EQ, which I might go into later, the reverb, and yeah, the filter's really, really nice. It's got a really nice buttery sound. I haven't used it here because I like the sound of the pad as it is, but I might use it later on and kind of work around that. I might turn that poly 6 down. Just going to call that chord stabs. See, I've forgotten to label my tracks again. What was that? That was pull stretch. So let's... Actually, I keep going on about this AF4 filter. I'm going to actually use it. So I'm going to put it on those chord stabs. I like to point out that I like the AF4 filter not just because it shares my initials, so that's a nice little bonus. Actually, I'm going to unmute the stabs there and have them fade in over a longer period of time. I like where this is going. Also, thanks to the person who's just posted the link to Pull Stretch in the chat section. If you want, I'd suggest checking out. It's a really, really handy sort of secret weapon. Actually, I'm going to bring that glitchy percussion in. I'm not going to have the keys come in just yet, but I'm going to have them come in the next run through of that block, and I'm going to mute that pad just to break things up a little bit. I'm going to cut the last snare off the end here. Actually, I don't like that oscillator. It's making everything, the extra fifth is making everything sound weird. As Rich has rightly pointed out, you can stretch audio in Reason as well, which is a perfectly viable thing to do. I just like Pull Stretch because I took a very small block, threw it in Pull Stretch, and it's really, really good for extreme stretching. So my original kind of audio file that I bounced was the length of a block. This is long. So when I finish this song, I need to remember to bounce that to a separate recording, delete the unused recordings, otherwise the file size will balloon. I know hard drive space isn't exactly a premium these days, but it's a good habit to get into. Right. Now the question is, do I risk recording some vocals during a live stream? They could end up sounding hilariously terrible. The correct answer is yes. Let's do it. Let's record some vocals that might sound awful. Okay, I need to unmute that, and I'm going to create an audio track. And I'm going to put an RE2A in there. Now, I love the RE2A. It's fantastic on a lot of stuff. I'm just going to use the default vocals patch because it's a really good place to start. And I'm going to put that through a load of reverb again. Okay, now I'm starting to use quite a lot of reverb. This is feeling a lot more comfortable to me now. Right. Okay, I'm just going to go and disable the microphone input here, which is in Studio One, and this could sound hilariously terrible. I apologize if it does. Oh, that is clipped. I'm gonna re-record that. And turn it up so I can actually hear what I'm doing. It's still clipped. I'm probably going to leave it for now. And I also noticed the CPU kind of freaking out while I was recording that. I think it might be because I'm streaming stuff in the background and I've got lots of stuff open. Anyway. That's better. Right. Whoa, okay, let's turn the reverb back on. Nobody wants to hear that. And because I'm aware that I'm not the greatest vocalist, I'm going to use a pitch corrector. So, yeah. I'm going to live dangerously and adjust the buffer size on here because it's popping and that's annoying me. I'm going to try recording that once more. Here we go. You know, I think I'm doomed to have that clipped unless I start messing around with the recording levels, and I'm not doing that. So here we go. Someone's just asked if that was really just the RE2A and the reverb. Well, yeah, see for yourself, it's just 3 devices. If I was singing more in tune, or if I had time to record some more takes, I would probably ditch the Neptune. To be fair, the fact that it's massively clipped in places is probably a bigger issue. But there we go. It sounds surprisingly alright once it's been smushed in loads of reverb, so I'm going to leave that for now. Just going to listen through again. Just thought of something I want to change in a second. In the next section, I'm going to add some more vocals. So I'm going to do my old Factorator trick again, because vocals 1. Typically, I might think about using a group channel for this, but I'm feeling a little lazy today, so I'm not. So I'll just duplicate that, call it vocals 2, because I find the best thing to do when your CPU's being a little taxed is to just duplicate everything and take the most inefficient route possible. Anyway, so yeah, one thing I was going to change is I'm going to create a new block and I'm going to adjust the bass. So what I'm going to do is make it so the velocity controls the filter cutoff on the bass, and turn the filter cutoff down a little bit. Oh no, I can't. No, I'll leave that as it is. So what I'm going to do is, instead of having single bass notes, just to add a little bit more motion, I'm just going to copy and paste that. And I'm also going to turn the release down on the bass. I'm not really sure why that was higher before. Yeah, so give it a little more motion. Bring that down. Bring that down. And copy that across. Cool, right. Actually, one thing I'm going to do is on those bass notes, I'm going to randomize the velocity a little bit. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, someone's asked what software I'm using. I'm using Reason 8, the latest version available at the moment. And someone else has asked me what's my #1 must-have rack extension. That's a really tough one. At the moment, I mean, I use Poly6 all the time, as you can see. That's awesome, and it's really cheap. It's not particularly fancy. It just does one thing really, really well. It does one or two things really, really well. It doesn't mess around. I really love rack extensions like that. I like Predator a bit as well. I don't use that as much these days though. Antidote's really good for synth. There are loads that I haven't tried though. Like I haven't tried Oberon yet. But in terms of effects, the RE2A is phenomenal. That is an amazing compressor. I use it on vocals, guitars, bass, synths, everything all the time. Not so much here. But it's really, really good. It sounds consistently good. The Synapse effects bundle is really good. The EQ that comes in there colors guitars in particular really, really nicely, and the filter's really cool. And the reverb's really nice as well. I really like the Ubique and I like the Ubique G. I haven't used the Ubique G here, but that's awesome. Polar's pretty good. Oh, instruments which are really good. Oh, give me another idea for things I want to add. Radical Piano. That's really, really good. It's my favorite piano plugin available at the moment. I know a lot of people preferred Reason pianos and other pianos, but I like how tweakable it is. I like how easy it is to get a kind of nice, warm piano sound out of it. It really appeals to me. I'd say my most used rack extension at the moment is probably Factorator, because I keep throwing it on everything. But yeah, the RE2A is awesome. Everything by Selig is fantastic. The de-esser is, again, it does one thing, it does it really, really, really well. The Selig leveler is really, really good as well. That's really good for keeping errant levels in check and keeping everything nice and consistent. And Selig gain is really, really useful as well. Those three rack extensions are just really good, single purpose, awesome tools to have. So yeah, bit of an aside there. Right, I'm sorry. Some people seem to be having some problems with the video again, so I'm sorry about that. Anyway, I'm going to try listening to this section again. So while that was playing, I've set up a radical piano here, which I'm going to use for just little high keys that will just come in here. So actually, I might have that. Actually, I might bring that down again. Actually, I might have that come in a little sooner, before the vocals. I'm just gonna increase the release time on that. Oh yeah, I muted the vocals. They were slightly annoying me. Yeah, I'm using some rack extensions which seem to be hammering my CPU a little bit, so I'm just gonna bump the buffer size up again. It's strange, I normally don't have this problem. I think it's because it's encoding a stream in the background. But there we go. Yes, I'm going to be lazy here and copy and paste my vocals because I can't be bothered to record that one again. Anyway, I'll just crossfade those here. It's fine, I'm going to add more vocals, so that'll make it seem more varied. It's the perfect crime. I wouldn't normally do this. I would normally record 2 separate takes. It's just, yeah, for brevity. Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm going to do here, by the way, so this could end up sounding interesting. Hey, I'll take that. Right, here we go. It's clipped again, but there we go. Such is life. I'm gonna whack the Neptune back on. As someone has rightly pointed out, yeah, huge reverb tails do eat up CPU, and yeah, I'm using a lot of them. So yeah, and also encoding in the background is probably playing havoc with everything. So yeah, sorry about that, but here we go. What I might do here is I might get my guitar and try recording some ebow for the next section. I'm going to put a fill in here, add some more hats, and then have a final couple of blocks and finish the song. That's my plan. So I'm going to put another cymbal in here. Someone's also quite rightly said I could just bounce parts and bring them back in. I could do that, but I'm really lazy. If I was working on this kind of over a longer period of time, I might think about it, but there we go. What am I doing? Right, tube drum hits. But yes, I would love to see a proper freeze function in Reason. That would save me a lot of hassle. Well, it would save me a bit of hassle here. I normally don't have this problem. Yeah, there we go. So just park, I'm just parking that there, and there we go. I was going to have a drum fill here, so let's copy that and yeah, that'll do. Now, of course, this Rex loop isn't going to be in line with this anymore, so I'm going to have to change it. That'll do. Right. Yeah, someone's just said I should probably save my project. You, sir, are correct. I'm gonna save this. So, live stream 1. Nice original name for now. I might think about a name in a bit. Yeah, thank you. That's as reliable as Reason is. You know, if I lost this, I'd be really annoyed. Right, so I'm going to add an extra ride in here. That'll do. And then I'm going to try and record some guitar and see how that goes. Keeping it simple. And then I'll bring the vocals back in for this section, so I'm afraid I am just going to copy and paste them again. But I'm going to take some elements out because there is a lot going on. Actually, no, I'm not. There's a lot going on. I like there being a lot going on. That's kind of my modus operandi, really. So this is kind of coming, in my opinion, this is a nice, natural place for the song to end. So I'm going to have one last symbol at the end. Just reverse that. Stretchy, stretchy. Chuck it over there. I'm going to transpose it up an octave. And... So my thinking is, I'll record some ebow here, some guitar with an ebow here, and then I'll write an ending, and I think we'll have a rough song. I'm actually quite surprised. I was half expecting to choke with this one, so I'm quite surprised. Thank you for your support. Without you guys, I probably would have just been sad and cried alone. So... Right, I should stop beating around the bush. Someone just said thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch me do this. I really appreciate everyone who's watching this at the moment. I mean, you could be doing anything right now, and you've chosen to sit down and share me creating something, and that to me is, all joking aside, I think that's a really wonderful thing. So thank you so much for watching this. And now I'm going to stop messing around and grab my guitar. This guitar actually has quite a funny story behind it. I used to play in a post-rock band called Civil Protection, and I've kind of remained as a satellite member over the past few years. And I originally sang vocals, then we became more post-rock and instrumental, and I started playing more guitar. And my guitar at the time wasn't really suited for it. And one of the guitarists in the band, Nathan, he decided to get a Telecaster. Excuse me. And yeah, cheeky little beery burp. He decided to sell me this guitar. I said, how much do you want for it? And he said 20 quid. So that's a bit of a bargain. But the actual headstock is completely beat to shit. It's really, really funny. Anyway, ebow time. I have no idea if this will work or not, but I hope it will. I'm going to use a handy audio track patch which I have called Nice Clean Guitar, which does what it says on the tin, really. So I should probably make sure that this is in tune. I should probably select the right channel as well. Put that down. Yeah, dropped a E. Probably should have tuned this beforehand, really, but never mind. You'll soon get to witness my terrible guitar playing. Right. Oh yeah, it's going to be a massive delay because of the buffer size. Oh well. I'll just have to deal with it. Right, let's make sure this is working. I might use the other setting actually. Right. Okay. Let's have a go. What? Yeah. There we go. Start there and just see how it goes. That could have gone better. It's a nice idea, but my technique leaves a little to be desired. Yeah, I'll try it on the B string instead. Yeah. Right. Let's try this again. I'll keep that take because there are bits of it that I like, and I can always salvage it later on. Okay. Yeah, I love the ebow. Some people have commented on it. It's the thing that put me off buying it originally was the fact that ebows are a little pricey, but I've used it so much. If you're thinking of getting one as a guitarist, I highly recommend it. Yeah, it's great. Annoyingly, I'm not sold on that one last note. Ah, that's kind of annoying. How's it here? Yeah, that works for me. So if I go here, yeah. Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of comping my takes in a very backwards kind of way here, but bear with me, hopefully it'll work. Oops. Yeah, the second take, yeah, actually, yeah, the second one was in tune at the end. So well, it was the right pitch. So I'll just knock that off. Yes, thank you, that man who told me to stop being stupid. Right, let's check that out. Right, okay, I'm just gonna experiment with putting a little unison on here. Actually, I want to demonstrate something. I've mentioned the VE3 as being a really good EQ on guitars. It might not be as obvious with an ebow, but I'll try it. So this is on. I haven't really changed anything, scooped the mids a little bit, boost the highs a tiny bit, so... Okay, it's not really as noticeable with an ebow, but you'll have to take my word for it. It does work quite nicely. Anyway, unison. Effects, recent devices, unison. Now I don't want to apply too much of this because otherwise it will sound a bit goofy. Yeah, that's good. Right, I think once I put the end on here, that'll be pretty solid. Again, if anyone's noticing anything really obviously wrong with the mix, please let me know. Actually, one thing I am going to do is use the Cele gain on this channel, just on the ebow, just to lower it a little bit at the end, because everything comes in, and I think it could do with kind of just coming down maybe sort of 1.5 dB. So it's not ridiculously noticeable, but it'll give everything a little more room. So if I just bump that back up again. Something I haven't done, which I'm surprised by, is I haven't had any delay feedback washes in this yet. I might get round to that. Anyway, before I do that, I should put an ending on, otherwise this will just be the saddest thing ever. Right. I want to filter that out. You might notice I'm using a lot of filters to fade things in and out. It's just a habit I got into. When I first started using Reason in the early 2000s, I went through the song archive and I downloaded a song. Might have even been by Tom Pritchard actually, but at the end of the song, he, instead of fading everything out, he put a filter on the master channel and just filtered everything out, closed the filter over time, and I really like that. It's a really nice way of closing out a song, and it kind of wraps everything up nicely. So I poached it, and I've been doing that ever since. So yeah. So yeah, I'm just going to put a filter on the master out just before it hits the combinator, the mastering combinator. You don't want it after, because otherwise, if it's going through a limiter then through a filter, it might cause the sound to clip, and you really don't want that. Basically, as far as I'm concerned, if you're using a limiter or maximizer like the Ozone Maximizer, you want that to be the last thing before it hits the master output. Nothing before that whatsoever. Anyway. Oops. Yeah, I want that bass to fade out a little more smoothly. And I'm going to bring the stretched atmosphere back at the end, only I'm going to use a different section. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Time to save, I guess. Now, I guess we should probably just sit back and have a listen to it, really, and I might think of things, or I'll invariably think of things I want to change or tinker with. While I'm listening, I'll have a look on my iPad and see if anyone's said anything. So here we go. My first semi-completed live stream song. Here we go. Yes, I'm actually pretty happy with that. You know, when you're working on a song and you get really, really into it and you get kind of addicted to it and you want to listen to it again and again, I'm getting that, so I guess that's kind of a good sign. Um, as someone pointed out, they said it could do with a little more bass, so I turned the bass up a little bit as it was playing. But I guess I won't really know if it needs any major tweaking until I take my headphones off and listen to it properly using my monitors. But there we go. Actually, one thing, it's something about the second pad isn't quite sitting with me. It might just be that, actually. Yeah, I think it was just that one note. Yeah, that A sharp isn't really doing it for me. I'm just gonna change that to an A across all the blocks. It's a shame because I quite like that interval, but there we go. If it sounds a little weird. Oh yeah, of course. Now I've got to change this. See, this is why it's a good thing to work with blocks. If you do stupid things like this, you can change them in a few clicks as opposed to having to go through the entire song shifting notes up and down. Yeah, I was thinking of having a bigger reverb wash with the vocals or some delay feedback washes before the end of the track. But actually, I like the transitions as they are. And I was thinking of putting a drum fill at the end, but I think it kind of works as it is, to be perfectly honest. I might tweak that a little bit and stretch it so it... Sorry, that was a little sudden. I'll warn you again, I'm about to stop playing. Oh, of course. Block 1 utilizes the same chords twice. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Someone has just asked me, is this my usual music style? It's kind of a hard one to answer because I do tend to dart around different genres quite a lot. I think the fact that I wrote this in such a short space of time means that this is probably as close to my natural style as you're going to get. I released a kind of album of sorts in August 2014 called Pieces, which you can check out if you go to... Well, there should be a music button either on the sidebar or underneath this video, which will take you to my Bandcamp page. And there's an album on there called Pieces. And that was basically a collection of stuff that I wrote both kind of... I wrote it over the course of about 2 years. And it was just bits and pieces, hence the name, kind of all put together. Some of the tracks were originally for production use. Some of them were just kind of quick sketches that I wanted to get down, which I then tweaked endlessly. In many respects, I'd say that this song in particular is quite indicative of the kind of method I would have used when writing tracks and pieces. There's different things that I would have done, like I would have used different drums. At the time I wrote Pieces, I was using Tom Pritchard's Thor drums from his Thor kit refill everywhere. There's more organic instrumentation, that kind of thing. But I think kind of the spontaneity of writing this song is very similar to how I wrote pieces. So if you like what you heard, check out my Bandcamp page. There might be something there that you like. But generally speaking, if I'm working on production music, I'll be working to a particular specification, in which case I will do whatever. I ended up doing a trailer album last year, which might see the light of day at some point this millennium, which was quite sort of it was cyberpunk influenced and kind of had really sort of a quite aggressive edge to it. That was tons of fun to work on, and I would love to do something like that again. I'm just going to have a look at my iPad and see if anyone said anything, and have some more tasty tea. Ah, yeah, someone's just said it reminds them of pieces. Well, there we go. It's because it's a similar sort of writing technique. I think I was using blocks a lot then as well. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it, really. I will upload this song at some point. If you follow me on social media, Facebook or Twitter or whatever, I will post a link at some point. I bounce it now, but I want to have a play with the mix at some point. I'm even thinking of sharing the actual Reason document itself. I'm going to need permission from Samplephonics, whose drums I used, and I want to get permission from Tom Pritchard because I'm using his patch. But everything else is my creation from what I can tell. In fact, I'm surprised at how much of this I actually created from scratch today. I was expecting to have to rely on a lot of presets. So that's kind of neat. I think a good habit to get into, like what I did with the vectory loop, the percussive loop, this one, is to sometimes if you're having trouble writing music, or you're just not feeling that kind of creative flow, is to just sit down in a different environment and just get loads of sounds you can use in the future. Like when I got these percussive loops together, I couldn't write anything for a while, so I just went to Reactor and started playing with Vectory, and I exported a bunch of loops. And I do that even when I'm working on production music. If I get stuck, I'll go to Studio One and play with some string libraries or some big epic film score percussive stuff, and just bounce those, bring them into Reason. It's kind of a strange way of working for a lot of people, but sometimes I think it's nice to separate the sound design and experimental phase from just writing music. It's why I was able to get this down so quickly, because I wasn't creating new sounds from scratch every time, although I did that quite a bit at the start. So that's my opinion. Have I hit Control S? Yes, I have now. Although I'm not using Windows, so Control S wouldn't do anything. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. I should probably wrap this up. It's been a couple of hours and I've managed to write a semi-complete song. If you want to get in touch with me, or ask me any other questions related to this or my other music, check out the social media links at the side or underneath. And I'll hope to hear from some of you soon. If I can get this Reason document online and share it with you, I'd love to. Obviously, you might not have the right rack extensions or whatever to use it, but I think it might be interesting to have a look at. And yeah, so that's that really. Yes, I could drop it to Propellerhead's Discover service, and I might just do that once I'm done. Fantastic idea. Will I be streaming again? Yeah, I've had a cracking time. I don't know about you guys, but I've had an awesome time, and I'm not normally this productive on a Wednesday evening, to be perfectly honest. So this has been quite nice for me, really, and it's a nice change from what I've been doing recently. It's nice to just write a tune for the sake of it. So yeah. Cool. Right. Okay. In that case, I'm going to stop waffling and let you guys get on with your lives and have fun. Again, thank you so much for choosing to be here and listening to me waffling for 2 hours. It's been a fantastic experience, and I hope to do it again. Cheers. Thank you very much.